Hey, what's going on, guys? Well, it's finally time to start reviewing these trail cams. I've been using these since I got them. I was extremely excited to try some different trail cams. This one specifically is the Simmons. This is a 4 megapixel Whitetail trail cam, and it has a gray finish on it. There's a lot of awesome trail cams out there, and they range anywhere from pretty much this all the way up to $300–400. You know, it just depends on what kind of features and functions you want. The main purpose of me trying this, first of all, I've always been curious on trail cams. I always loved the idea for two purposes. Number one, security. Okay, I could put these things anywhere on the property and just basically see what's going on when I'm not around. And number two, curiosity. Just for wildlife. I love wildlife. You guys know I do local wildlife videos. I love seeing animals. I love seeing what's kind of scurrying around at night when I'm sleeping. So it's just, it's a novelty for me. I'm not using this for hunting purposes. I think a lot of people who do buy these are, you know, hunters because they want to track different game. They want to see what kind of animals are in the area, whatever they're specifically looking for to hunt. It's extremely beneficial in that sense. But for me, it's more curiosity. So I really wanted to compare two different models. Now I showed a video, kind of a teaser. I got this one and I also got a more expensive Bushnell one. Okay, and I've been using both extensively since I got them. I'll do a separate review on the Bushnell and maybe, I don't know, but maybe a review kind of comparing them together, just kind of a recap since I'll already have full reviews. But either way, I want to talk about this one today. This one is extremely cheap as far as trail cams go. $65.99 from Optics Planet. That's where I got this one. Actually, I got both of them from Optics Planet, and they have free shipping there too. Now, this is a 4 megapixel version. They also have a 6 megapixel version for $79.99. Okay, so it's more expensive. The advantages, basically, this is a 15 LED, 15 IR or infrared LED version, and the other one's an 18. Okay, the other one has pretty much the same features as this one, only it's literally, you know, better quality. 6 megapixels better than 4, obviously. Besides that, you get a little bit more range, an extra 5 or 10 feet as far as, you know, what it's picking up for distance. So if it's worth, you know, is it worth kind of getting the more expensive one? I don't think so, honestly. I mean, if you're going to go cheap, and this is the cheapest one that I've seen. If you want something that's a little bit more expensive, then bump it up to past 100 and really get great quality and all kinds of features and stuff like that. The whole purpose of me getting this one is to get something super cheap and compare it with a little bit more expensive model and kind of see what the difference is, if it's really worth it. Again, a hunter's perspective on how they're going to use this is going to be different than someone who wants it for security, which is also going to be different for someone who wants it for novelty, like myself. All right, for a security one, you may want a better quality one in case you see people. You want to pick up more on features. If you see, let's say, a vehicle, you kind of want to pick up on the detail and license plate, stuff like that. People are going on your land, you know, or your property when you're not around. You really want to know who they are and what they're all about. And that's where a quality camera might come in way more than, you know, the hunter that just wants to make sure there's deer in the area that he's hunting. Okay, totally different, you know, perspectives. So if you really want that high detail, you're gonna have to pay that high price. But anyway, overall, I was really happy with this. It's really, really cool. It's really fun. Just to get a basic idea of what's going on in that area, you know, day and night, 24/7. You don't need to spend more than $60, you know, or 66 for this one. You know, if you're going to get one of these for novelty, you know, go cheap. There's no reason spending all that extra money for all the fancy stuff. All right. I'm going to, throughout this video, I'll show you different, you know, pictures and videos taken from this. This does have a video feature on here. It does take pictures. You can do 2 megapixel or 4 megapixel. Just depends on, you know, how much memory you're taking up. This does have an internal SD card. Okay, so it puts all the information on an SD card, and if you had a smaller sized SD card, you might want to go with the lower quality so you can get more pictures on there. But it holds up to a 32 gigabyte card. All right, so trust me, all the usage I have on these so far, I haven't even come close to filling up my card. So I don't think that's that big of an issue. I did stick it on the 4 megapixel feature the entire time I was using it. I never downgraded to 2. But that's the advantage, obviously. It's like, you know, your digital cameras, you'll put a lesser quality picture setting so that you can literally have more pictures on your memory card. But anyway, first thing I want to talk about real quick is the strap. Basically, this is how you mount it to the tree. It comes with a thick nylon strap. The strap is very strong. However, I made the mistake of tightening it way too hard. There's obviously, you see a simple buckle on here. I snapped mine, okay? There's a learning curve. When I first put it on the tree, I'm like, I want to make sure this thing's tight. And I yanked on the thing and The thing just snapped right off. All right, I don't know if it's really faulty design as much as it is, you know, my error. I really cranked down on the thing. So anyway, just wanted to mention that don't snug it up too hard. It's unnecessary. But you get really long straps. Okay, this can go on to anything up to like a 3.5, 4 foot tree, which is extremely, you know, rare. If you're by yourself, it's going to be hard to wrap this around a 3 or 4 foot tree anyway. Something to note about this is that you're not just limited to the trees, because there's certain areas that I wanted to put this, and I didn't really have a tree exactly where I wanted it to mount it, okay? Most trail cams do come with a tripod mounting insert, okay? And that is, it's like a little socket that's threaded. So you can basically put this on any tripod, all right? So you can put it literally anywhere you want. There was only one case where I didn't really find a tree that was exactly where I wanted it set up, and that's exactly what I did. Is I took my spare tripod, which was already breaking, and I kind of rigged it up in the woods exactly where I wanted it for taking pictures, and it was perfect for that. All right, so that does work. So we're going to open it up here. You can see, I mean, if you've ever seen trail cams, they're all pretty much the same, and it's a really hard case. It is weatherproof. It did rain extensively a couple different times over this. No issues at all. Hot and cold, it shouldn't be any kind of issue. All these trail cams, whether it's cheap or expensive, they all really do last in really harsh weather conditions. Okay, they are all waterproof. You can see there's a hinge on this side. All right, this is how you open it. You can pop these open. All right, that gives you access to the inside. This is where you set up all your stuff, change your settings, put your batteries in, stuff like that. There is a tab here, so you can put a lock on here. I'm sure they sell something aftermarket to kind of basically keep this against the tree. But when you're putting trail cams out there, security is, it's iffy. Obviously, I could put a lock on here. What prevents someone from just unsnapping the buckle on the back? You know what I mean? You know, and even if you really do lock it to the tree, if it's a small tree, someone can cut it down and steal your trail cam. So, you know, don't put these in really high volume areas. That's my opinion. If you're going to buy one of these things and you're going to leave it out in the woods or leave it somewhere where it's unattended, you know, there's always a chance someone's going to steal it. So it's nice it has that feature. I would never use it, honestly. I'm not worrying about someone tampering with my settings, okay? If someone finds a thing, they're just going to steal it, okay? Unless they're just an honest person. But anyway, as far as it's like an ACU gray. It's almost a dark ACU. And even though there's other models that are fully camouflage, this one blends in very well. I mean, when I'm walking through the woods, I'm very aware of my surroundings, but I'm not looking for trail cams. And honestly, unless someone knew it was there, they probably wouldn't see it. The only thing that really gives these away are the straps, because it's black, okay? It's not a natural, having this black line, you know, in the woods is extremely noticeable. I didn't notice the trail cam too much, but when I was going to find them and pick them up each time after, you know, testing and using them, I was looking for this, and that it was easy to find. So I'm going to suggest, if you're going to use these things, spray paint your strap, okay? Maybe just a couple different colors, whatever your environment is. You can spray paint that, and it shouldn't be that much of an issue. But this blends in the woods very well. The strap is what actually stands out, not the camera. So anyway, we're going to open up. You see it's a very simple thing. It takes 4 AA batteries. I used Energizer alkaline batteries. You can use lithiums in here. The battery runtime, okay, runtime like the flashlight. The battery power on 4 AA cheapo alkaline batteries lasts up to 6 months. Okay, so if you want to use lithiums, that's fine. You don't have to. Keep in mind, you know, this unit is in a standby mode using very, very little power when it's not in use. You have a sensor in here. It's actually, these look like LEDs. They match with everything else, but actually the bottom one is a sensor and the top one's a light sensor. This is the IR sensor on the bottom, and the top one in the middle is the light sensor. So basically this is running on almost no juice at all. Something moves, the sensor picks it up, and then the machine turns on to take pictures or do whatever you have it set to do. Okay, so it's not just on running full power all the time. That's why the batteries last so incredibly long with these different trail cams. So again, this one's running on 4 AA's. Here's the SD port. It's very simple to use. Clicks in, you know, very easy to take in and out. Okay, you can directly plug this into your computer. I don't know why you would. It's just easier to use the SD cards, but you do have the capability of plugging it direct if you wanted to. Very, very simple to use. Basically, you turn it on. I have everything set up how I want, so what I would do is once it's all ready to go, I would hit setup, and then close it. And I would lock it and try to get out of the area as soon as possible. It does give you a delay to move before it starts taking pictures. But of course, when you come back, to the spot, if you're in front of it, to take it off, it will take your picture a couple times too. It's not that big of a deal though. Very, very simple buttons. Okay, a little screen to work with here. All right, just up and down to go through all your functions and features and stuff like that. Very, very straightforward. The little user guide that comes with it was perfect. There is English and Spanish in here. It's very, very straightforward on how to use this thing, okay, as far as how to change the features and functions and stuff. So really simple to use. I think anyone could pick this up and learn it in about 10 or 15 minutes. There are some different learning curves, okay? What I mean by that is that when you're using this thing, I put this in a spot where it was actually facing a field, and I had trees around it, okay? And when the wind blew, the branches would move around, and then that would pick up on the sensor. So I had literally 12 or 1,300 pictures of nothing, because every time the wind blew and the leaf would get in the way, it would take a picture. This goes for pretty much any trail cam. It's not just this one, but just a word of warning, if you're new to this like I was, don't put it where something really close is going to constantly move in front of it, because they'll pick up on that and take pictures of nothing. Weather, harsh weather will turn your camera on. In extreme rain, the sensor will pick up on that, all right? Now, I haven't dealt with any snow because it's obviously still summer now, but I've heard that pretty much every trail cam out there picks up on heavy snow. It's just something moving, so obviously the sensor is going to pick up on that and start filming video or taking pictures. I know a lot of people get frustrated in the wintertime. Every time it snows, they got hundreds or thousands of pictures of nothing, just the snow. Bugs are another thing. I have a couple hundred pictures of just moths and bees and all kinds of stuff just going in front of it. Same thing with birds. Every time a bird gets anywhere near the area, it will set it, and trigger the camera to turn on and start snapping pictures or taking video. So you can't do anything about the bugs and the birds and stuff like that. But what you can do is try not to put it in an area where you're going to have immediate limbs or branches and stuff moving around. All right, so on to some other features and functions. Like I said, it does take pictures from 2 megapixel or 4 megapixel. It does have a video function. It's going to record in 640 by 480, okay, at 30 frames per second, okay. I'm going to show you some video footage throughout this video as I'm talking and stuff. I'll show you pictures so you can see. I think it's very adequate. No, it's not the highest quality, but no, it's not the most expensive model you can get. It will give you an idea what's going on. It's just inferior to, obviously, better quality cameras internally. But I was able to completely see everything that was going on. It was actually even better at night. All right, so as far as functions and features, like I said, there is a camera in here. The camera is going to be 2 megapixels or 4 megapixels, depending on what you set it on. There is a video function during the day or with night vision because of those IR LEDs. And the video quality is 640 by 480 with 30 frames per second. But something I want to mention is with the IR LEDs, when these turn on, okay, a person can't see that light quite like different animals, okay. To the human eye, it emits a dull red glow, okay. So if you step in the sensor and it turns on and you're a person, you'll see a very, very dull red glow. What I did notice is that a lot of animals will stop and look at the camera. They notice that red turning on. It doesn't spook them though. It's not like a flash. A flash would make them, jump and run and try to get out of there, right? It's a little bit more scary for the animals. They actually get attracted to this dull glowing red light. So I had tons and tons of pictures of deer, where they'd be maybe 10, 15 feet away from the camera, and all of a sudden I'd get a picture of them looking at the camera. And then they'd be walking close to the camera. If you have something super close, the IR bounces back and it gets flooded with white light, okay? The only drawback to any of the night vision cameras out there is that when dawn comes, okay, and it's getting bright out, there's always like an hour, as far as both these cameras that I've used now, both cameras have the problem where there's like an hour period of time when the sun's coming up where the IR LEDs are still turning on because it's not quite bright enough, but it's still too bright to get a good night vision picture. So it's that middle ground where if something happens to come around at that time, your pictures are almost completely washed out by white because the IRs are popping on, but it's not dark enough really for that to be effective. So not a big deal. It's a small window of time, you know, all things considered, but it is something to note there. Let's see what else. As far as other features, the trigger on this is 1.2 seconds. In other words, if something moves in front of here, it takes 1.2 seconds for it to realize and take a picture or start filming. There are 3 picture burst mode if you want, when something, boom, you know, goes right in front of the sensor. It could be a quick boom, 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 3 pictures. As far as the photo delay, you can do it anywhere from 5 seconds to 59 seconds or 1 minute to 10 minutes. If you don't mess with those features or functions, the photo delay is already set up for 10 seconds. Okay, that's the default for it. As far as the size of this whole thing, the manual shows 120 millimeters by 94 millimeters by 46 millimeters, which is awesome for all the international people. But for everyone in the United States, I'm gonna measure for you on camera here. All right, so with the hinge and everything, we're looking at about 3.5 inches by 5 inches, and with the back and everything, about 2 inches. Okay, so those are your dimensions. The big advantage of this one is it is one of the smallest trail cams out there. A lot of the trail cams, you know, more expensive ones, they're bigger. They take more batteries, they have more power. The really old trail cams were using like, you know, C and D batteries, so they're huge. The transition over to AA's, you know, and even I guess in some cases there's AAA ones too. It offers a much smaller, more compact unit. So this is one of the smallest ones, and obviously the biggest purpose, or not the biggest purpose, but the one main feature you want on trail cams is to not be noticed. You don't want animals to see it, you don't want people to see it. It's supposed to be hidden, okay? So good camouflage and a small size is important. So with this being cheap, it's not big and clunky and bulky. It's actually very well designed, and it's a tiny little form factor, which is very cool. You know, overall, I really like it. It's a lot of fun to play around with. Like I said, for $65.99 and free shipping, it is an awesome, awesome new toy to check out wildlife. And like I said, for me, it'll end up being a security device. You know, I'm really hoping to get some more footage. I've gotten hundreds and hundreds of pictures and stuff of deer. Obviously, deer are most prevalent. I have lots of pictures of turkey. Also, you know, see them all the time. It was cool to see some other things out there like skunk and possum and some other critters like that. But I really, really want to catch a bear on this camera. And the biggest, you know, pot of gold for me would be to catch some kind of wild cat. Bobcat, lynx, and mountain lion are in my area. Something else that's really cool feature on this is that it shows the moon phase on the timestamp. Okay, so basically when you're taking pictures, it'll imprint certain information onto that picture. Most trail cams will show date and time, but some of them have more features than that. This one has the moon phase. Okay, it said that, you know, when the moon's out or, you know, the moon's brighter, there's more animal activity, and I found that to be true in a lot of these different pictures. But the most important thing with your trail cam stuff is date and time, for 2 purposes. 1, if you're getting this for security, and 2, for hunting. I think it's most important for the hunters out there to have a date and time stamp on this. If you're putting your trail cam by your blind or whatever your hunting spot is, and you're finding that, okay, there's 3 big buck that are walking through every single day at 4 a.m., you know, you want to know when they're coming through. Deer, turkey, all kinds of animals, like people, you know, creatures of habit. And they have routines. I know that the black bear in my area, they have their certain, you know, paths that they walk. And when I see the certain bear, I see them in the same spot around the same time. So having a timestamp and the date on these pictures imprinted on there is really, really good and very important. And pretty much every trail cam, as far as I know, has that already. But the moon phase is a little extra feature on this one. So yeah, I was surprised to see that Simmons had a trail cam, and it was one of the cheapest ones that was there. I know them for binoculars. I had no idea that they do trail cam. Obviously they do you know, other optics too, like scopes and stuff for rifles. But yeah, pleasant surprise, super cheap, but not cheap on the quality. It's actually really good. The camera inside is a lower grade camera, but it's not crap. And that's the whole point of the review, is to tell you that it's very, very functional, and it has a couple of cool features that some of the more expensive ones don't. It's just the video quality and picture quality is obviously less because of the price. But very, very cool unit to play around with and have, and just to, like I said, see what's moving around when you're not there. It's a very cool little hobby, is just setting these things up different places and going to check them, and it's exciting, you know. You pop the SD card in your computer, and you don't know what's going to be on it. Could be anything. It's really interesting to find out what's going on when you're not there. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this review. I'll put links in the description box. Like I said, Optics Planet had the cheapest price I found on this one. And they have all kinds of stuff in their store. I've heard of Optics Planet before in the past, but when I was doing my web search for cheaper trail cams, I actually stumbled upon a forum. The forum wasn't even for trail cams, it was something else, but they had mentioned check out Optics Planet, and I did, and this is the one I fell in love with because of the price. However, I did also get the Bushnell just to do like a comparison and a reference, so stay tuned for that review. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you have a great day, and I will see you soon. Take care.